All right, so when it comes to me and fragrances, I really do enjoy fragrances that last a really long time, especially like fragrances that you can sort of put on one day and, pretty much they sort of stay on your skin until you take a shower. So what I have here today is I have a top 15 list of fragrances that pretty much they go into the next day in terms of longevity, at least on my skin anyway. All right. So in this first spot here, I have two fragrances. Both of these are going to be from the house of Initio, and they're both actually extracts from the house of Initio. So these are going to be Rehab as well as Musk Therapy. All right, so these fragrances, at least for me anyway, they really last on me a really long time. Especially Rehab for sure. Every single time I wear Rehab, it doesn't really matter when I spray this on. If I spray this on, this is going to be on me until I take a shower. And I mean, for the most part, I'm not really one to really spray fragrances on my clothes. I used to a lot more, but not really anymore. I tend to only just kind of spray like on my pulse points and stuff like that, on my actual skin. And I mean, with again, both of these definitely last me into the next day. The Musk Therapy is not going to be as strong of a scent in terms of, its projection as what Rehab is. But, for sure, I get pretty much the same, in terms of longevity with both of these. Easily going to be over 16 hours easily. So I definitely recommend both of these if you're looking for really high quality smelling, long lasting scents. This is going to be more sort of kind of like more sort of niche version of Spice Bomb, and then this is going to be kind of like your I guess you could say white florals with citrus, kind of like drier sheet, sort of fresh fragrance for the most part, but it does have a creamy aspect to it from the sandalwood. So I would definitely recommend these two fragrances as kind of like starter initial fragrances to get into the house with. And again, these are going to be Rehab as well as Musk Therapy. All right, next on the list is a fragrance from Lattafa. This is part of their Vanille En Oud series, and this is Lattafa's Amethyst. So Amethyst, in my opinion, is going to be one of Lattafa's strongest scents that they've made. This is a fragrance that when you spray this, it's going to completely overtake the room pretty much. And I mean, you're going to smell this for hours on end. Now it does, for sure settle down, after probably 3 to 4 hours, it does settle down a little bit. But it still keeps pushing even after that. And I mean, for the most part, this is going to be on you until you take a shower. It's just that strong. This is a sort of like a take on Initio's Atomic Rose. I haven't smelled the original Atomic Rose to really say, exactly how close this is. But this is, for the most part, it's like rose, a little bit of oud, and it's a very, in my opinion, wearable sort of rose fragrance. The rose definitely comes off as like really jammy and sweet in this fragrance. I would assume in the Initio, like the Initio fragrances, they tend to have sort of like this kind of like herbal or medicinal sort of smell to all of their fragrances. So I would assume that the rose is not going to be like as sweet and jammy in the original fragrance than what it is in this. But again, I really do enjoy the way that the Amethyst smells for sure. And again, this is going to last you into the next day. So again, this is Lattafa's Vanille En Oud Amethyst. Next one is another one from the house of Lattafa. This fragrance I enjoy more than what I do the original fragrance that this is inspired by. And this is going to be Lattafa's Afkaar. So this is Lattafa's take on Mancera's Instant Crush. And I mean, for the most part, this is like almost exactly the same as Instant Crush. The main difference that I was able to kind of pick out when I smelled the two side by side were the Afkaar. It absolutely had a slightly heavier emphasis on the note of mandarin orange. So is I would say slightly a bit sweeter than what Instant Crush is. But I mean, overall, if I'm talking, like how close this comes to Instant Crush, it's like at least 95% close pretty much to Instant Crush. And I mean, as a matter of fact, this actually gave me a little bit better projection than what Instant Crush did. And the longevity was also very good on this as well. So easily into the next day. This is a scent that you can absolutely go nose blind to. So for some people, they may feel like this fragrance is weak. It's in the same sort of vein as something like Baccarat Rouge 540 in terms of how it smells. So obviously that scent profile is definitely going to be one that, a lot of people, they are going to go nose blind to. But at least for me, I don't really go nose blind to this one. I can absolutely smell it, hours and hours later. And this is another fragrance that, for the most part, when you spray it on your skin, or at least me anyway, it stays there pretty much until I take a shower. All right. So again, this is going to be Lattafa's Afkaar. All right, so the next one is from the house of Armaf, and this is their take on Creed Silver Mountain Water. This is Club de Nuit Sillage. Club de Nuit Sillage is a super beast mode performing version of Silver Mountain Water. This fragrance, whenever I wear this, what I do with this fragrance is I'll typically wear this like after I've taken like a night shower. And what I'll do is the next day, pretty much as I'm going throughout the day, unless I take a shower like first thing in the morning, this is going to be on me the whole rest of the day. And it doesn't smell like a fragrance that I just wore 8 hours ago through like me sleeping or whatnot. This fragrance smells like I just sprayed the fragrance on that same day, and it smells like that all day long until I take a shower and wash it off. It really is that strong for sure. When it comes to the longevity, when it comes to the projection, it is also going to be very loud as well when you first spray it on, at least for probably like the first 2 hours or so. This is going to be pretty strong. I've even seen some people say that this fragrance is too strong for them when they first spray it on. So definitely be mindful of how many times you spray this. My nose doesn't really seem to mind this. I do sometimes kind of go heavy on the sprayer with this fragrance. But if you are someone that's sensitive, to fragrances in general, or maybe just this particular scent profile, then maybe go a little bit easier on the sprays with this fragrance. But either way, this is definitely going to last you into the next day. And again, this is Armaf's Club de Nuit Sillage. All right, next one on the list, this is going to be from the house of Alexandria Fragrances, and this is their take on Louis Vuitton's, Symphony, and this is Alexandria's Orchestra. So this fragrance, this is only a 30 ml bottle, and I mean, when I first got it, I did kind of regret not getting like a 60 ml of this. But this fragrance lasts for so long and is so strong that now I'm kind of thinking, yeah, 30 ml is probably really all I need for this fragrance. I'll spray this on maybe about 4 to 5 times maximum. And I mean, really, I would say 4 times is probably about all you really need. Because even though this is a very sort of, fruity, fresh type of fragrance, it definitely has some density and some body to it, to where if you spray too much of this, it will become cloying. At least it does on me. I think one of the first times I wore this fragrance, I probably sprayed it on like 7 or 8 times, and it gave me a little bit of a headache because it was definitely that strong. Once you actually spray this on, though, it gives you very good projection, and then the longevity is absolutely until you take a shower. At least, for me it is. This fragrance is easily, I would say, probably one of the longest lasting Alexandria fragrances that I've had so far. So like I said, this 30 ml should absolutely last me quite a while, especially with how many fragrances I already have in my collection. So if you're looking for a really long lasting, you know, citrusy, fruity, fresh type of fragrance, absolutely I would recommend Alexandria Fragrances Orchestra. All right, so I got another long-lasting fresh fragrance here, and this is also a very citrusy fragrance as well. This is from the house of Nishane, and this is Nishane's Wulong Cha. So Wulong Cha is pretty much, it's like a really citrusy, tea-like, fig, slightly spicy, slightly sort of green smelling scent. There's a lot going on in this fragrance, but it does smell really amazing in the air. It is extremely strong, like in the immediate opening. Every time I spray this fragrance on, I always have to remember and try to pretty much try not to breathe this fragrance in, because for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just like the combination of the citrus notes that this fragrance has, it really kind of tickles my nose. So I really kind of have to hold my breath probably for like the first 10 seconds or so when I spray this on, because it is that strong. And I mean, for a more kind of summer, springtime sort of scent, this fragrance easily lasts into the next day, at least for me. But I mean, for the most part, I want to say that every sort of Nishane fragrance that I've smelled, maybe with the exception of Amber Calabria, has been very sort of beast mode like that, where, you know, it's gonna last you into the next day. I mean, I got the same thing with Hachivat, same thing with Ani, same thing with Fan Your Flames. I'm sure I'm probably forgetting some other Nishane scents that I've smelled that had that same type of longevity, but this one is definitely one of those fragrances that also has very good longevity as well. I would say try to pick this up while you can. At least from what I've seen, I haven't really been able to find too many stores that are actually selling brand new bottles of Wulong Cha. So I'm not sure if this fragrance has been discontinued or not, but if it is, absolutely pick up any bottle of this that you can, because this is a very, very, very amazing sort of, you know, again, citrusy, tea, fig sort of scent that I really enjoy a lot. So again, this is Nishane's Wulong Cha. All right, the next one on the list, this is going to be a designer from the house of Valentino, and this is Valentino's Born in Roma Intense. So Born in Roma Intense, this is a very simple but really good smelling scent. This is going to be, I believe it's like lavender, vanilla, and I think the base note might be vetiver or something like that, or some sort of woody note. Again, very simple but very sexy smelling, but also very concentrated and very long lasting. This fragrance, I'm not sure, yeah, this is an eau de parfum, but it does smell, at least in my opinion, it has the sort of intensity and sort of concentrated smell that something like an extrait would have, in my opinion anyway. And it does perform that way as well. So this is going to be another scent that, you know, whenever I wear this fragrance, it lasts easily until I, you know, shower it off. You know, that's how much it lasts every single time. And this is another fragrance that you do kind of need to be careful with how many times you spray it, because if you really go overboard with this fragrance, it is very easy to kind of get a headache with this for sure. So even though this is just a 50 ml bottle that I have of this should easily last me pretty much forever, because I really don't need to spray this on too many times, probably 4 to 5 times maximum, and that's really all you need. So again, this one is going to be Valentino's Born in Roma Intense. All right, so the next one up, this is going to be from Lattafa. Again, this is a part of their Lattafa Pride line, and this is another Initio inspiration. So this is their take on Initio's Paragon, and this is Vintage Radio. So Vintage Radio is probably one of Lattafa's best you know, sort of inspired fragrances that they've made, just in terms of how close it comes to the original, how high quality it smells, you know, how well it performs. And, you know, just overall, this is a very, very nice scent. This particular scent actually got me to really appreciate what the original scent profile was trying to do more than what the original one did. So I had gotten a sample of Paragon like way before I got this fragrance, and the first time I wore Paragon, I was just kind of like, like it's okay. Like I didn't hate it, but it wasn't one of those fragrances that made me want to go out and buy a full bottle of it, like the way that Rehab did when I first got a sample of that fragrance, or Musk Therapy. So for me to really enjoy the way that this one smelled, over the original, that definitely is saying something. But this does really perform really good. This definitely lasts on me all day and into the next day, pretty much until I shower it off. And I mean, in my opinion, the projection is about the same pretty much as the original Paragon. And then, I mean, the longevity is also about the same. I get the same thing pretty much with Paragon as well. So if you're looking for just a really nice, calming sort of, I almost kind of consider this to be like a sort of aromatherapy sort of scent, you could say. If you're looking for something like that, then I would absolutely recommend purchasing Vintage Radio over Paragon for sure. All right. So again, this is Lattafa Pride's Vintage Radio. All right, next one is from the house of Al Haramain, and Al Haramain, they make really long lasting fragrances. I could have put other Al Haramain fragrances on this list as well, probably should have, but this is the one that I featured on this list. So this is going to be Dubai Night from Al Haramain. All right, so Al Haramain's Dubai Night, this is their take pretty much on Arabian's Tonka. This definitely comes off as being a little bit fresher than Arabian's Tonka does. The rose in this fragrance is a little bit jammier than what Arabian's Tonka is. And just overall, the scent profile for Dubai Night is going to be less dense than what Arabian's Tonka is. So I think that kind of gives this one a little bit more versatility than what Arabian's Tonka has. Some people may like the more sort of denser take, that Arabian's Tonka takes. At least for me anyway, I do actually prefer the way that it's done in the Dubai Night. All right. But this is a fragrance that is going to be nuclear when you spray it on, and it's going to stay on you until you shower it off. That's pretty much how it is with this fragrance. So this is not going to be a fragrance that you'll want to wear if you're like in a enclosed space, right next to people. So like, don't wear this on like a plane or something like that. If you're taking a plane ride from like New York to Vegas, don't wear this, because everybody on that plane, especially the passengers sitting next to you, are going to hate you probably. Even though this fragrance does smell good to me, it's just not the type of scent for that particular occasion. This is also not going to be something that you would wear to like school or work or anything like that. This is definitely more so going to be, in my opinion, like a scent that you would wear when you're going out, especially if you're going to be outside, to kind of let this fragrance sort of breathe pretty much. So again, man, this is a very, very nice beast mode, really high quality scent, and this is going to be Dubai Night by Al Haramain. All right, so the next one that I have on this list here is from the house of Swiss Arabian, and this is a part of the Shaghaf Oud line, and this is Shaghaf Oud Azraq. So for the longest time, I thought that this was just a like an original scent by Swiss Arabian. I didn't really know at the time especially when I bought this fragrance, that Swiss Arabian, for the most part, it seems like they kind of do inspired fragrances and maybe sort of add like their own sort of twist on them. But pretty much this is sort of like a interpretation of I believe it's Montal's Honey Oud, and this is definitely going to be a fragrance that you'll need to have some experience with oud to really sort of appreciate, and you'll need to like some sort of oud fragrances. If you're someone that really hates oud and you just can't stand the way that it smells, then this is not going to be the fragrance for you, because this does open up with a lot of oud and a lot of honey. Now the oud definitely, it does sort of settle down, and I would say probably after about the first hour, hour and a half or so. And then that's when you start to get a lot more sort of spiciness, some vanilla and stuff like that. It definitely, to me, comes more closer to like what a gourmand sort of fragrance would smell like. But again, in that first opening sort of hour, hour and a half, it is going to be pretty oud heavy. And it is a very strong fragrance as well. So this is definitely a heavy projector, and the longevity obviously as well. It is very, very long on this one. So again, easily until you wash this one off, at least for me anyway. And I really, really enjoy the way that this smells. This to me is definitely, it's bright enough to me to where you can wear it in the daytime, but it has a dark sort of edge to it to where you can also wear it at night. So it definitely has some versatility in my opinion. It is also more kind of like more of a sort of upscale, sort of dressed up type of scent. But again, wear whatever you want. You could probably also wear this one, just casually. I sometimes wear this one casually, for the most part, but just do what you want with this one, man. Again, this is going to be Shagaf Oud Azraq from Swiss Arabian. All right, next one on the list, this is going to be from Fragrance World, and this is their take on Tobacco Vanille. And this is Vanille En Tobacco. So Vanille En Tobacco to me is, at least so far anyway, it's the best tobacco vanille sort of inspired fragrance that I've smelled. The only thing that this is really missing to me, and I've discussed this in another sort of comparison video that I've done, is the Vanille En Tobacco doesn't have the same sort of like honey note that I pick up on anyway in Tobacco Vanille. I sort of pick up on this this kind of sweet, dense honey note in Tobacco Vanille that is pretty prominent, at least to my nose anyway. This fragrance doesn't have that, but it does have everything else that Tobacco Vanille has. So it does have the tobacco, it has the vanilla, it has the sort of cinnamon and clove spice, it has the dried fruit smell. It has everything else that I really pick up on in Tobacco Vanille, again, other than that sort of honey note that I pick up. This also, it smells much more higher quality in my opinion than what something like Tobacco Touch from Maison Alhambra does. And it also, it does project better than what that fragrance does as well. Just really because of the point, or just really because of the fact that this one comes off as being denser than what Tobacco Touch does. Tobacco Touch, when you smell that one compared to this, and even comparing it to the original Tobacco Vanille, you'll notice that the Tobacco Touch is like really, really watered down when it comes to, this and the original. All right. So again, man, definitely if you're looking for a really long lasting, high quality, sort of interpretation of Tobacco Vanille, then I definitely recommend Tobacco or Vanille En Tobacco from Fragrance World. All right, so we got another Initio inspired fragrance here. This is from F.A. Paris Fragrance World, and this is going to be After Effect from Fragrance World. This is a very, very good interpretation of that fragrance. I know for a while you couldn't really find these too much. I believe now they are pretty much in stock everywhere for the most part. And this is a very long lasting, very strong scent as well. So this is also going to be another one of those fragrances where you'll need to really kind of watch how many times you spray this, because it can definitely become pretty cloying, at least to me, pretty headache inducing if you spray it too many times. So for the most part, I only go probably about 4 to 5 times max. And I mean, it's a really spicy, boozy, vanillic, really sort of sexy nighttime sort of scent. I don't really wear this one too much in the daytime, but I mean, you absolutely can wear this whenever you want. I don't think that this is like a super sort of formal or dressed up sort of scent. You can definitely dress this profile up, but this is also something that, in my opinion, you can absolutely wear casually for sure. All right. And this is also going to be another one of those fragrances where it's going to last you until pretty much you shower it off. So again, this is going to be After Effect from F.A. Paris Fragrance World. All right, so the next one that I have on this list, this is going to be from Maison Alhambra. This is, I would have to say, probably one of the strongest scents on this list. This is their take on Dior's Tabacular, and this is Tabac from Maison Alhambra. So Tabac, this is just a really sort of sweet honey tobacco. I would even say sort of slightly sort of earthy sort of scent. Definitely has some smokiness to it. You're getting like that sort of tobacco leaf. Tobacco. I believe there's like 3 or 4 different types of like tobacco or tobacco leaves that are in the sort of original tabacular scent profile. This, for the most part, is, you know, it's very, very close to the original, 90+% for sure. The quality isn't obviously as good as what it is in the Dior with this one, but when I smelled the two side by side, I didn't really feel like I was missing out on really much of anything, you know, with having Tabac. But this is definitely going to be a fragrance that is going to be super beast mode. You do absolutely need to watch how many times you spray this, because if you spray this too many times, what happens is probably after wearing it for like the first 20 minutes or so, it's almost like it starts to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And if you spray this on too many times, what happens is probably after about 45 minutes to an hour, you start to realize, okay, yeah, I sprayed way too much of this on, and you can't escape it. Pretty much, you can't escape it. So I would only recommend probably spraying this one maybe about 4 times maximum, 4 to 5 times. And that's really all you need. And that's going to last you easily into the next day for sure. All right. So again, this is going to be Maison Alhambra's Tabac. All right. So another one that I have here on the list, this is also going to be from Alexandria Fragrances as well. This is their take on Angel Share from by Killian. And this is Brooklyn Fragrance Lover. So this is a very good interpretation of Angel Share. Definitely not as bright of an opening that, you know, you get with this one, you know, when compared to Angel Share, but still very good for sure. And this is, for the most part, it's like a, you know, apple cinnamon sort of boozy type of scent. And this really lasts a really, really long time. That's the one thing that I really do enjoy about this fragrance, is how long it lasts. It does, I would say it is pretty linear of a scent for the most part after you get past probably like the first hour or so. After that point, you know, what you smell is pretty much, that's what you're going to get for the rest of the scent. But what I can say for sure is this lasts into the next day, and it doesn't really seem to have that much of a drop off, you know, once you get past like that, you know, initial sort of, you know, hour and a half or so of like, you know, initial projection. Once it gets to that point where, you know, it's kind of dropped off of that initial projection, at least on my skin anyway, it seems to kind of have like the same strength pretty much until you wash it off. So that's what I really do like about this fragrance, man. It does last pretty much forever on me. All right. So definitely check this one out if you're looking for a really high quality, long lasting Angel Share clone. Definitely check out Brooklyn Fragrance Lover from Alexandria Fragrances. All right, and then the last one on the list, man, this is from F.A. Paris Fragrance World. This is one of their best interpretations, in my opinion, that they put out in quite a while. This is their take on Parfums de Marly's Altair, and this is Liquid Brun. So Liquid Brun, this lasts on me easily into the next day. This is a really, really nice, in my opinion, masculine, safe sort of vanilla scent, that you can easily wear if you're a man. Man, to me, this comes off as unisex. Even though it's marketed as a men's fragrance, this does still seem like a scent that, I feel like most women, they probably would feel like they could, wear easily. It's pretty much, it's vanilla, it's spices. You do kind of get like a sort of slightly fresh bergamot sort of back tone to the fragrance. Just overall, man, it's a very, very nice smelling scent. Definitely for like the fall and winter time easily. But in my opinion, I think that you could also probably wear this fragrance in the summertime, in climate controlled sort of, situations when you're inside, or even like summer nights if you want to go outside with it. But when I say summer nights, I'm talking about really anywhere other than here in Las Vegas, where it's still like 100 degrees at night. But yeah, man, if it's like, I don't know, mid to low 60s or something like that, where you're at, in the summertime, absolutely, I would say you could throw this on, and I don't think it would be too much, because it's not really like a super cloying scent, at least in my opinion anyway. All right, so again, man, this one is Liquid Brun from F.A. Paris Fragrance World. And that's the list, man. That is my list of, beast mode, pretty much going into the next day sort of longevity scents that I have here in my collection. I'm sure I probably have some scents that I kind of forgot about, or, kind of left off of the list. But at least for this list here, I am pretty happy with the choices. Let me know in the comments if you agree with my assessment of these fragrances in terms of how long they last. And if you don't, also let me know. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.